Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good evening. Good morning and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Yes, it's a late one, but yeah, we got some things to get into. It's some craziness going on right now as we speak, and I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm like, what did I miss? Damn. I walked away for 2 seconds, come back, all kinds of craziness is going on. And let's not forget what I said earlier is actually happening in real time. Some arson is going on in one particular area. So this is crazy. Oh, there's so much going on. We got to get into this because there's a lot going on, okay? So, excuse me. Do me a favor. Oh. Okay. Do me a favor before we get in everything. Hit that like button down below. Sorry, it's just a lot of gunk. Hit that like button down below. Hit that reaction button. If you're watching on other platforms, please be sure to hit that follow button, please. And thank you. Hit that subscribe button as well. Here, go to my secondary channel, The Pascal Show Clips on YouTube. Crush that subscribe button over there as well. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon and my locals. And do not forget, let's not forget, check out PascalMerch.com. Okay, guys, we got some really great stuff over there. Anyway, guys, this is not going to be a super long show because of how late it is right now. But I told you guys I'd be back to talk about all this. And there's been a lot of things. There was a press conference that happened about 2 hours ago. I figured it was going to be later than what they had it today. But that's fine. It is what it is. They got to do what they got to do. Right now, it is what? 7:12 p.m. over there right now as we speak. Of course, the fire still rages on in multiple places. Now there's a new fire that happened in Kenneth. Okay, they're calling it the Kenneth fire. All right. And now they're saying that particular place was lit on fire by an actual arsonist, guys. Exactly. Now, here's the thing. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier. Basically saying, like, who's to say that somebody out here, some jerk-offs are running around trying to cause chaos for the sake of causing chaos because they can. Now, allegedly, they have somebody detained, but that person, they don't even know if that person is really the person who actually started it, who's actually the arsonist, right? We got a lot to get into. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things. Okay, like I said, it's not a super long show, but I did want to share a little bit with you guys because we'll be back up here tomorrow morning talking about all of this again, of course. But this is strange. The turn of events. But I knew at some point there was going to be some jerk, some piece of trash or pieces of trash running around doing all kinds of stuff because this is an opportunity to strike. This is an opportunity to do a whole bunch of bad things. I even said this earlier today, and then somebody else did a TikTok about this, saying the exact same thing I said too. They just talked about, they were a little bit more focused on what they were saying. But I said, hey, this is the worst time for any Angelians. I forgot how they go. Angeline. You know who I'm talking about, okay? Anybody who's living in the Los Angeles areas, this is a bad time because this is an opportunity for people to go out there and do some bad things. Angelinos. Thank you. Angelinos. Okay. So Angelinos, right? Somebody did a TikTok basically saying, hey, Angelinos, y'all need to keep your heads on a swivel more than just watching out for fires, but for people who want to cause crimes. I've been saying this for the past, since we started talking about this. People will go out of their way to do the worst things ever, okay? Even unaliving people. And then setting the place on fire. And then letting it just be all the evidence, everything like that, just get washed away in these fires. All because of money, possessions, a beef, whatever it may be. This is the worst time. So when we look at all these fires that seem to be popping off in random places, instantly you start going, is it because of random floating embers floating in the air and then just falling just conveniently in a dry bushel? Or could it be man-made? Now we're actually hearing about a fire actually being started off by someone, and actually that person getting detained. Like I said, that person, it's not confirmed that if that person that they detained is actually the person who actually started the fire. But I still want to share this though, real quick, before we get into everything, because we'll be hearing a lot about this arsonist guy and all this stuff here in a second. But this is from News Nation interviewing an officer here.
What we know right now is that the incident started here, and about 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, a suspect was detained over in Woodland Hills area by citizens.
So someone purposely set the Kenneth fire?
At this time, that's what we believe, yes.
Do you know how or why they did that?
That I don't know.
Is this a crime scene right now?
Yes.
So everything's closed off?
It's being investigated as a crime. What we know right now is that
That's crazy, right? I mean, shoot. Somebody went out of their way, and of course, there's going to be at least one jerk off that's going to go out of their way to try to set some ish on fire. Of course. And this has already gone, this fire has already taken up multiple acres. This is not just like a little corner, not just like a little burning bush. This has gone off considerably. So now, welcome to the chaos that is the Palisades fires. Okay? It is continuing. It's continuing, and it's not slowing down. Okay, guys? It is not. So I got a few things. Let's take a look at where is it? There it is. Let's take a look at this. Okay. Crazy, guys. Crazy.
On the road from Mountain View Estates on Muir Road, and the fire, it's hard to see from our vantage point, but it's right behind us here. All these people you see here have been evacuated. They cannot go into their homes. We're near Malibu Canyon. This woman that's walking by here, her cat's in her house. She can't go get her cat. People are very anxious. You know, Pat, in talking to people out here, this is bringing back a lot of memories of that Woolsey fire for a lot of people here. And I want to show you over here on Muir Road, right down from Mountain View. Look at all these fire engines here. They are here. The amount of support to fight these fires, it's amazing how many firefighters I've seen. Now I want to show you, I want to talk to these two gentlemen over here.
Evacuate.
This is Eric.
Hi.
And Eric actually has been evacuated, and he has been helping people the last couple of days with the Palisades fire, and now he is being impacted. Nico, his house burned down in the Palisades fire. He's also been helping people. Eric, I'm going to start with you. Tell me about the situation here in Calabasas and what you're seeing. And did you see the fire? What did you see?
Here in Calabasas, we saw the fire. We had a high vantage point to watch it. We've been fighting the Palisades fire for the last 3 days. My house burned down in the Woolsey, which is why I'm so adamant about helping people and saving lives. I feel like we're doing God's work. A lot of people need help and needed assistance. They get lost, disoriented, and don't make the right decisions. They go in the wrong direction, And I advise everybody to stay out.
And even if the fire's not coming to you and you can get out, you should get out. This gets into your bronchioles, your alveoli. You want to get out of this as soon as you can. It's not the fire that kills people, it's also the smoke. So don't try to run in and save possessions. Your life is worth way more than your property. That's all I want to let you know. Love, peace, respect.
Yeah.
And Eric, tell me about your situation here. So is it your girlfriend's apartment or apartment you share together?
Yeah, we share. And her cat's still in there and all of our equipment. And some of my neighbors are telling me, hey, can you go get some of my stuff? Can you check on my animals? And we're completely blocked off. We can't go do anything. They've stopped us. We don't want to get arrested. And we're just doing our best. We're in the back of the Las Virgenes, and we got this far, and that's as far as we can go. We just advise everybody to stay as safe as possible. Save your life, not your property.
There's an elderly dude we can help.
All right, thank you, Eric.
That's
okay,
terrible.
Okay, they're going to go help them. Okay.
God bless everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Pat, we have good citizens here just trying to help people. Everyone is just really coming together.
Crazy.
I did check moments before coming on here. The fire is at about 800 acres. The issue with this fire in particular is it's basically burning behind Hidden Hills.
Mm-hmm.
And, because it started in West Hills there. And so that whole brush area is a danger zone. On the plus side, a fire captain told me it's burning on the path of the Woolsey fire. So in a sense, it's good because that land's already, been burned. But that doesn't mean we're out of the danger zone because there's so many homes. I got to show you over here. Look at these lights over here. I mean, again, these are all the people just waiting to get word. It's just moment by moment here because, these fires are so unpredictable.
All right, Lauren.
Isn't too bad right now, which is really positive. We want that. Oh, okay. Okay. I'll send it back to you, but we're going to be out here all night, and I'll have another update for you, Pat, at 7.
Yeah, what happened, Lauren? We just lost your audio for a minute there, and I know that area very well, and you're absolutely right about that. The Woolsey fire, a number of trees that were charred right there on Bureau Road, where you are. You could see that for several years after the Woolsey fire. They hadn't grown back yet. The bark was still blackened. So can certainly understand.
Wow. I have no words.
Alex Cole had seen video of the Palisades fire in this stretch of PCH, but hoped to see for himself that his place was still standing.
I'm blessed that it's still standing.
The house
Wow.
is intact, but there is damage. The balcony off of the living room is badly burned, and there are other issues. Cole knows, though, that he's one of the lucky ones.
I walked in, so I'm going to look around and see how bad it is, but at least it didn't go all the way down. So thank God for that.
A bit north in Pacific Palisades, damage assessment
That's a lucky
teams are
dude.
fanning out in neighborhoods, going house to house and cataloging what's been destroyed and what is still standing.
Our numbers that we collect, we work hand in hand with FEMA. So that's how they end up getting the numbers of how many structures were destroyed or not destroyed. Unfortunately, right now, we won't be able to tell because it's very soon, but hopefully within probably like a week, once we get all our data, we'll be able to provide the public with how many structures have been destroyed.
Paula Rufo and Tim Murphy hiked into the Sunset Mesa neighborhood in Malibu from their temporary housing in Santa Monica. They had to find out if they'd have any place to come home to.
Our home is in much better shape than many others, even sadly some of our neighbors. There is some damage on the outer area, windows out. It smells like a 70s ashtray, but it is relatively much better than most of the folks here.
The fact that I was standing in my kitchen just a little while ago is comforting to know that my personal things are there. Yeah, it's a little devastating to look out my window and see all my neighbors' houses all torched. I feel for them.
Trying to reckon
Wow.
that our whole entire life and place and home and memories are gone.
Other evacuated residents have been meeting at a roadblock on PCH and Temescal Canyon Road looking for answers. LAPD and Port of LA officers have started checking IDs and taking names in order to help people get to their homes, if only for a few minutes.
A car comes down, a police car or other vans, and they pile 4 or 5 people in who are in that area. They drop you off. You've got 5 minutes, and then they bring you back down.
It's so hard to believe that what you left in one piece is now just rubble. And so we're just trying to see, maybe there's a stone, maybe there's a little gem of a piece, maybe one of my forks and my silverware. You know, I don't know. Anything is going to just kind of be a touchstone.
When the sun went down, officers told residents that they were not going to shuttle people up to the neighborhoods anymore due to darkness, but they said they would start again in the morning. In Pacific Palisades, Michelle Geely, KCAL News.
You know what's crazy about this is the fact that nothing has changed, it's only gotten worse, is pretty wild to me. But it is also very wild to me that there are a lot of people, I'm going to pause this really quick, that there are a lot of people that are actually pretty lucky and their homes are pretty much intact, that they're still standing, that they're still up, even around them having houses burned up and just completely demolished. It's pretty crazy. But I hope that the ones that are lucky are getting encouraged to help. Because if you really think about it, they don't have to worry about where's my next meal going to be, where's my next bed, where am I going to live for a few months or for the rest of the year, maybe depending on the situation. You got to remember, there's a lot of houses that need to be constructed now, need to be rebuilt, depending on how insurance is or how your financials are. I mean, you know, you're literally going through, what can I do and how long will it take? And God only knows how long it will. So I'm hoping that the ones that are lucky help. Not only us out here, you know, watching this from afar. I mean, the people who are sitting there thanking their lucky stars, going, damn, we are really lucky that we still have our home. You see what I'm saying? So I'm hoping that people will step forward, that as our elected officials have said, or their elected officials have said, that they will band together and they will rise from the ashes. I hope that they do. I really do. But, you know, I know that everybody's we all live in a very tunnel visioned kind of world. So I'm hoping that this is a big wake up call, and maybe this is a new approach for 2025. You know what I mean? And on. Maybe people really, this will be a humbling experience for all those that have been even the privileged, okay? That they'll realize that these worldly possessions, these material possessions are nothing, that they're not important. What's really important is the relationships between people, right? Community, family, etc. I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. But, you know, that's just me being hopeful. Soon as these buildings and these houses get reconstructed, we might go right back to the same old thing that we've been doing. You know what I'm saying? Maybe. But maybe this will be a wake-up call for a lot of people, like, yo, because some people, you know, came into LA with nothing but a suitcase or a book bag or just the car and $5 in their bank account or in their wallet, and then found success. And now those people are going back to that experience again. Maybe it'll be a humbling experience and a wake-up call for those people. I don't know. You know, I'm thinking too deeply, but at the same time, maybe something different will change. You know what I mean? But we'll see. We'll see what happens, right? All you can think about is positivity and healing vibrations, and hopefully this changes things, but we'll see.
Assisted living facilities right off Altadena Drive in Washington burned to the ground. Behind me, this is the terrace at Park Marino, and it was once a 3-story building. And we know dozens of seniors from these assisted living facilities and nursing homes, they were rushed out as that fast-moving wildfire closed in. But we are also sadly learning about those people in Altadena who did not make it out of this firestorm.
Kimiko Nickerson says they only found the bones of her 82-year-old father, Rodney Kent Nickerson,
Man.
in the rubble of her family home in Altadena on Alta Pine that burned to the ground.
And he said he'll be fine. I'll be here when you guys come back. He was in his bed when I found him.
She says her 25-year-old son lived with Nickerson, his grandfather, and while he evacuated, the older man did not, as the firestorm raged.
And he was walking around with his lantern in the house. Chase and I were talking to him. We were on FaceTime.
Nickerson, a Lockheed Martin engineer for 45 years, and his grandfather, William Nickerson, was a prominent businessman and the founder of Nickerson Gardens in Watts, the largest public housing development in Los Angeles. Just down the street, this couple also lost their home, and they say another man died on their street.
I just waved at them. Their father was really friendly. He had old Mustangs, and I'm a car guy. I used to talk to him, but I didn't know his son very well.
They tried to fight the flames and embers for hours, but it became too much. They say they never got any evacuation order.
Instead of a snowstorm, it was a flame storm. Okay, and it was being blown by 60-mile-an-hour winds. And so we just turned off the water and grabbed some things and got out of here.
Rita Cook showed up at a senior living facility off Washington in Altadena Thursday, where she says she used to work, only to find it burn the ground. She says her cousin and his son also died in the fire inside their home on Mariposa.
Anthony was such a great guy, businessman, family man. I mean, you can talk to Anthony about just about anything, and he was such a jewel. So this is going to be a great loss. So
What happened to him? He was with his son who was bedridden?
Yes, it's with his son that was bedridden.
The devastation so widespread, 16 square miles, impacting homes, businesses, and schools like this one. The fire destroyed a good portion of Elliott Arts Middle School on Lake Avenue. Seats inside the gymnasium burned to a crisp as the roof collapsed. The cause of this fire is still being investigated, and if it is arson, of course, that brings in the sheriff's department to investigate any of these deaths as murder. But we know cadaver dogs and homicide detectives have the daunting task now of going through all of this rubble and devastation. Here in Altadena, Jasmine, VLKKL News.
Also, something I also realized that they were saying a few hours ago that there was a false alert to Los Angeles County. There was a false mass alert to all of Los Angeles County, basically saying to evacuate. And of course, it was false. It was a mistake. They made the mistake. And of course, everybody and their mama started to panic. And yeah, mistakes are going to be made for sure. But what's interesting is people from Los Angeles County all simultaneously got a false alarm. Yeah. Imagine that. Imagine getting that. And then everyone's like, oh my God, we got to go. But then it's like, no. We made a mistake. It was to all of Los Angeles County, like a massive alert to basically everybody in the Los Angeles County area, which is not good. Okay. Not good at all. And they all, like, people were freaking out. People were really worried, only to find out that was a false alarm. Like they accidentally sent out the alert to they shouldn't have sent it out to everybody, basically. And so, of course, you only see that alert. It's not like everyone's going to look back and go, oh, was that a mistake? Some people are going to literally be packing their stuff up and running for the hills, literally. So it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Let me see. Okay, there's some reports here I want to share with y'all still here on this report.
All the firefighters here, they are working on this fire. And, you know, we can't even see when we first got here, Juan, we saw a little bit of the flames on the mountaintop over there. We don't see them anymore. So we're hoping that's a good sign. We, of course, are going to stay out here. We're going to have another update for you. But as of right now, all the mandatory evacuations are still in place. And firefighters are doing what they can to get this fire under control. Juan?
Very good, Lauren. Okay, they are at the ready and at the firefight right now. Thank you. All right, let's go to KCAL News assignment editor Mike Rogers on the desk right now with updated information on the cause of the Kenneth fire. Mike, what do you have?
Yeah, so everything's a little bit murky right now. We need to wait for detectives to sort everything out. But here's the deal. So we got an alert, Citizen app and a couple other places, that there was an arson suspect that was being detained in Woodland Hills, right? So we looked into that. And what happened there in Woodland Hills on Altadena Drive is that a group of citizens believed that a person was responsible for an arson. We don't know why they believed that. We don't know what information they got that led them to that conclusion. Regardless, though, they detained on their own, these citizens detained that person, and then they called LAPD. So LAPD has detained that person. They brought him to Topanga Station, and what's happening right now is a detective from Ventura County Sheriff is going over to the Topanga Station to interview that person to see whether or not there is any connection. So I want to be clear here. Nobody is under arrest. Nobody is definitively saying that this fire is arson, and nobody is definitively saying that the person that LAPD has at Topanga Station is that potential arsonist. This was all done by citizens. Citizens detained this person, and then LAPD showed up and took him to Topanga Station, where now he is being interviewed, or will be interviewed shortly, by a Ventura County Sheriff's detective. So we'll continue to follow that situation. An LAPD watch commander I just talked to at Topanga Station. When I said, "Is this your arson suspect?" he said, "I doubt it." So
I doubt it. So they got somebody, guys arrested a dude, citizens arrest, like what we just heard a little bit ago. Citizens arrest. They detained this dude, dragged him to the precinct so that he can get interrogated. When this reporter asked the police, do you really have the man that did this? They said, I doubt it. Ain't that about a shut your mouth? Also, it's like maybe he was in the wrong place anything's possible. He could have been at the wrong place at the wrong time. He could have just done that. Okay. He could have been with somebody who actually did that, and that person ran off. He could have just been, like I said, the possibility of him being in the wrong place at the wrong time is possible. But at the same time, if people saw him do this, I don't see an argument there. Do you? If there are eyewitnesses seeing him start this fire, then you got problems, yo. But what do you do in a situation like this when there's absolute chaos going on everywhere right now? What do you do? It's fascinating stuff. But let's continue on, though.
seems like there's a little bit of doubt in there about who this guy is, but regardless, they're gonna take it very seriously. Ventura County Sheriff's gonna come and interview him and figure out what, if any, connection he may have to this fire. So we'll continue to monitor that situation, Juan. And I think, do we want to go up to SkyCal and look at some of the video that SkyCal is at over the Palisades fire right now? As that continues to burn, that firefight ongoing.
Yeah, let's take a look, Mike.
Yeah, there we go. So there you can see SkyCal's looking at this. It looks a lot better, Juan. And let me make sure. Yeah, so we're looking at it right off of Van Nuys Airport, I believe, is kind of where we're looking at it from that angle. So yeah, we're just above actually Pierce College is where we're looking at it from, Juan. So you can see there is still active flame tonight as they look at that. And some of those water dropping helicopters are still there. Actually, a large number of them between the two fires. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, almost 14 water dropping helicopters still after nightfall. So really remarkable the work that they were able to do and to try to do their best to fight this fire at night.
Yes,
that is fantastic, Mike, and we're seeing.
I will say still be able to do, because apparently they say that the winds are going to start picking up here overnight, and it's going to be bad. But there are a few other things here. I'm just going to mute this and let it roll so you guys can see this footage. But it says a mandatory evacuation orders lifted in Kenneth fire, so that could be good news. All right. So evacuate. Excuse me. Evacuation orders related to the Kenneth fire, which broke out in the West Hills section of Los Angeles today, has grown to almost 1,000 acres, has now been downgraded, which is good news. And this is about 7 minutes old. So the LAFD said mandatory evacuation orders have been lifted, but evacuation warnings, which mean people should be ready to leave if they are told to do so, still remains. So that's still enacted. Okay, that's still active, but still, it's not a situation of them going, run for the hills, run, right? So that's good news. Okay, so moving on, the brush fire broke out at around 2:40 p.m. local time today, and then burned into Ventura County. The fire was about 960 acres as of 7:30 p.m. local time. So as of 10 minutes ago, 960 acres, now almost 1,000 acres, y'all, since the doggone thing started lighting up 5 hours ago. Now that's some crazy stuff. Now, was it done by somebody? Or was it Mother Nature? I guess that's going to still be up for question, I'm sure. Okay, let's hear what she got to say about these wind gusts.
That really intense windstorm moving through, but this is still windy enough with the vegetation this dry that we are tracking those concerns. So let's talk about the Kenneth fire, where we have this fire burning right now near Hidden Hills and near Calabasas. We're looking at temperatures in the low 60s, and it's not incredibly crazy in terms of the winds. I mean, we're talking gusts between 10 to 20, 25 miles per hour, but still this is enough with things being as dry as they are to see the spread of this fire very quickly. And this is also very difficult terrain. So what we're tracking right now is that next boost in the Santa Ana winds. And so going into tonight, these winds, they're slowly going to strengthen tonight into early tomorrow morning. And with that, we're still dealing with these really dry conditions out there. You can see we're looking at the teens in terms of our relative humidity, even the 20s out there. Things are much drier this evening for portions of the Inland Empire into Orange County, where you can see that relative humidity really between the single digits into the teens. And we continue to see that in areas like Malibu over towards Burbank and Santa Clarita. And because of how dry it is, that's why we continue to see this red flag warning. So we are still on high alert for critical fire danger. We've got these stronger winds picking up tonight. This is that boost, that bump in the winds that we've been talking about. And also, it's just been so dry out there. I mean, we haven't seen any solid rain since last spring. This has been the driest start to our winter since the 60s. So this nasty combination right here, when we're talking about fire danger, there's a couple different ingredients. It's the winds, and we're seeing those strengthen right now. And also the low humidity, how dry things are. That's what leads to high fire danger. And that's why a lot of Southern California is still under this. I mean, it's wild. First of all, to see a red flag warning in January. I mean, typically we don't see this. On top of that, this has been a long duration event. I mean, this has been prolonged. And so we're going to continue to see this going into tonight, early tomorrow morning. With that, we're looking at some renewed high wind warnings that are now in effect through early tomorrow morning. And actually the focus for these, it's going to be Orange County, Inland Empire, and then also through LA County into Ventura County. You can see some of those usual areas where we see the Santa Ana winds, the Malibu coast included in this as well. So in terms of what's happening tonight, valleys could see wind gusts between 45 to 60 miles per hour, mountains 55 to 75 miles per hour. I want to note this is nothing like what we saw Tuesday night when we saw the peak of those winds. I mean, we're not going to be looking at those widespread crazy winds, but still, these are strong winds. This is a moderate to strong Santa Ana wind event for us. So let's talk timing of the winds, because this is very important for us. This is going to be an important piece because I've got my eyes on light at the end of the tunnel. I'm going to zoom you into a couple different areas right now. Going into tonight, here's a look at those winds. The purples are back. So those purples are indicating those stronger winds, mainly up through the mountains, the San Gabriel Mountains. Gusts between 50 to 60 miles per hour. Our foothill communities, you can see those winds kind of just fanning over Calabasas into Thousand Oaks, right there towards the Malibu coast, and also Ventura County, that coastline right there nearing Oxnard. And then also we've been talking about Inland Empire and also Orange County. We've got some of those winds starting to ramp up close to San Bernardino, up through Running Springs, and then over towards Fontana. Let me zoom you out so we can kind of fast forward and go through hour by hour what's happening. We've still got strong winds by around midnight, but look at what happens by Friday morning. We're going to finally start to see some of these winds relaxing. It's still breezy out there. And then once we get to Friday afternoon into Friday evening, this is when we're going to be done with the red flag warnings and when we're going to be done with those high wind warnings as well. That's what we've been waiting for. Unfortunately, though, today we're still dealing with this extreme critical fire danger for a lot of folks. So this has been the focus today, the bullseye for where if we see fires, they could spread very quickly. So Santa Clarita over towards Calabasas, where we have the Kenneth fire burning right now. That's one of the key areas. And then also you can see that going into tonight. Inland Empire, we've got that through San Bernardino County, Riverside County, into Orange County. But by the time we get to tomorrow, this is a look at our fire weather outlook. Things are going to start to improve. Each day, things are looking a little bit better out there. So you can see fire danger is still going to be elevated, but not to the extent that we've seen the past couple of days. So let's talk about those hourly wind gusts going into tonight. Things are going to be picking up through Lancaster, Ontario, Huntington Beach, Santa Clarita, seeing gusts between 25 to 30 miles per hour. I mean, this is a different story compared to what we saw a couple of days ago. That's good news, but unfortunately, things are still so dry that any of these winds, I mean, this is still a situation where we are on high alert. But again, I mentioned we've got light at the end of the tunnel, and it's the fact that we are seeing those winds relaxing Friday and Saturday. And that is hopefully going to give our firefighters that opportunity to get the upper hand on some of these fires that we continue to see breaking out. I mean, it's so hard to see these constantly breaking out in different areas of Southern California. And with that, I want to talk about the air quality. We're all noticing it outside today. I mean, it has just been terrible out there. We've got these plumes of smoke, and that's what's leading to this terrible air pollution for us. And the focus for this has really been LA County. So when we're dealing with these winds picking up, it's really helping to blow and fan this smoke from these fires like the Eaton fire over towards downtown Los Angeles. So those purples right there, that's indicating the thickest smoke. We really don't see this often. And then you can see those reds. This is still thick smoke through Alhambra. We've got that through Monrovia into Pico Rivera, Huntington Park, over towards Culver City, Santa Monica. I mean, look at that stream. The winds are strong enough to blow it all the way out towards the ocean. So for these areas, we are under air quality alerts through tonight, potentially being expanded into tomorrow. We do not see air quality this bad in Southern California. I know we're used to the smog and the haze, but this is another level. So this is
Moving
the kind
up.
Utility water.
So in other words, tomorrow will be letting up a little bit, but tonight will be a little bit crazy. And then of course we'll see what happens with tomorrow. But I mean, it doesn't change the dryness. You see what I'm saying? Like, yes, it'll slow things down a little bit, but will they be able to handle it? Will the fire department, all these firefighters be able to handle it? I also heard this other thing. They're also using the incarcerated. They're using incarcerated firefighters right now. Around 800 to 900, if I'm correct, incarcerated firefighters. I'm not kidding. They're using prisoners right now. Yeah, to fight this fire. What happened to National Guard? What happened to the military? Any of those people? Any of those branches, I mean, of military? Where they at? Where they at, man? We got prisoners running around fighting fires right now, y'all. Put that in your pipe and smoke on it for a second. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? That out comes Diddy. No, Diddy locked up in New York. He ain't going nowhere. He's in I'm walking it. All right. He's not a surfs up dude. No, he's not in California. Okay. Ellie Mae, thank you so much for gifting 2 memberships. I appreciate it. Welcome to the family, those 2 memberships. Again, pay it forward, y'all. She just gave you some love. Pay it forward. Okay? Do something nice to somebody. But real talk. You got prisoners fighting fires right now.
Wires, many of them have been disconnected, of course, but it's still very dangerous and very treacherous on some of the roadways. And you saw probably in that video that we just showed you, there's still a lot of cars that are along the side of the road or in the middle of the road by the fire. Those were people that were trying to escape on Tuesday night and were so scared that they just got out of their cars and got on foot, fled. But their cars remained there. They had to be bulldozed off to the side of the road. I mean, things like that. It's just so much. There's just so much debris and other material in the roadways that it really is just not a safe thing to do to come back into these evacuation zones. So just remind yourself of that. I know it's so hard. People want to come back to see what the damage is if their homes, manage to escape or be spared. But it's very dicey situation here. There's no power in most of the Palisades. There's no Wi-Fi. It's difficult to communicate. There's no grocery stores really to speak of or restaurants that are really open. It's just a situation where emergency vehicles and police and fire need to have as much access and as much ability to get from one place to another, because even though a lot of the sort of raging inferno, the big flames have been knocked down, there are still hot spots that pop up, right? I mean, there's an ember can blow from one spot to another, and then it can just sit in an attic and then all of a sudden erupt into a big fire. So it's important to remember that these areas are very, very treacherous and dicey. Everything is very volatile right now. Nothing is out of the right now. Anything can happen. Basically, we are not out of the danger zone yet. Firefighters are still trying to get this under control. Also, the air quality is absolutely terrible. It's very smoky and difficult to breathe when you're out here for a very long time. But yeah, just a sad reality out here, because so many of the places that people loved out here, people who visited, they're just gone. And this fire has totally transformed the Palisades to a place that I barely recognized when I came in to work today. And I know that it's going to be hard for people to come back when they see what this fire has done. It's beyond tragic.
It's unbelievable. I'm glad to hear about your aunt, Tom, but right behind you there, I can't believe that used to be a Ralph's supermarket. Just unbelievable. All right, Tom, thank you. We are beginning to get a sense tonight of just how much the fires have cost the people of Altadena. We're hearing over and over how much residents love their tight-knit community, and many of our own staff live there, including KCAL reporter Cara Finstrom. Cara spoke with KCAL Mornings anchor Rutabe Shabazi this morning on her life in and love of Altadena. Here's a portion of that interview.
Okay, I'm gonna move it forward. But one thing is for sure, there is talk of there is talk of looters. Actually, they're saying, and a Los Angeles woman says hundreds of thieves are looting luxury homes that were evacuated due to fires. I can only play the audio to this because this particular news station is giving me a hard time for even playing 5 seconds like video of their stuff. So I'm only going to play the audio, but I want you guys to hear this because this is crazy.
As I was getting my whole family out, all you have in your mind is just you're in survival mode at that point. I saw men coming into our neighborhoods. Police confirmed it. She had this to say. Take a listen.
It was wild. We just started seeing all these cars pull up, doors open, and groups of men running up our street, going up to the doors of these houses. And we weren't sure what was going on. I'm thinking, are these people here to help my neighbors? I hope so. And I left, and then my husband talked to the police and said, what are those guys doing? These guys don't live here. Get them out. My next door neighbor said, his quote, there were like 100 people that came up on scooters and were trying to get into any and all houses on the street.
And did you physically see police officers stopping them?
I didn't, but it's not to say that they weren't. It was so incredibly chaotic, and I was so worried about my big family and getting them out of our old tinderbox of a house that I was just focused on them first.
That's crazy, right? So you have somebody actually saying they saw hundreds of people, hundreds of random men just charging these streets, trying to, trying to break into anything and everything they can get their hands on. I mean, that and trying to get anything they can get their hands on. In fact, right here, let me share this with you guys too. Just real quick before we continue on with all this news, because the news be newsing, y'all. The news most definitely be newsing. But they're saying over 20 people have been arrested for looting in Los Angeles area wildfire zones. Ain't that something? So at least 20 people have been arrested for looting in the wildfire evacuation zones in Metro Los Angeles this week. 20 individuals chose to go into our areas and deprive these poor people who have been through so much of their property. This is what the LA County Sheriff Luna said to reporters at the morning conference. Now, I remember them saying that they were arresting people, but I don't remember the exact number of how many people they were actually arresting. But this is a level of this is disgusting. This is just absolutely disgusting. But you got 20 people that have actually been arrested. They actually looked at this as an opportunity to strike. But this is exactly what I'm talking about. Remember what I said in the beginning of the show that we did this morning? I said, okay, I might sound crazy, but let's keep it a bean. There's a possibility that people would be out here using this as an opportunity to do some serious crimes. And it's more than just a B&E, breaking and entering. Just so if you guys don't know what a B&E is, okay? A B&E is breaking and entering. Aside from them going and breaking and entering, let's be real. Plenty of opportunities to exact some revenge, to put some pain on somebody, and then some, or make somebody disappear. So then next you know, during the California, the Los Angeles Palisades fires, such and such disappeared and he was never seen or heard from ever again. Was he engulfed into the flames? Or did he jump on a boat and go off to Maui? God only knows. You see what I'm saying? So for me, I keep on saying, if you are in the area, if you do live in that area, this is the time to hold tight to your family, protect your family by any means necessary. Keep your damn heads on a swivel. And I'm not just saying about flames. I'm talking about the enemy, because the enemy is out there and they want to do bad things. And they see this as an opportunity, because it's like, hey, our hood isn't up in flames, but shoot, if their house is up in flames, that Xbox will be a lot safer in my place than in his. His ride will be a lot safer at that chop shop. Why waste a good car when we can go get it, take it for a joyride, or sell it for parts or whatever? You see what I'm saying? So I can't emphasize this enough. Now more than ever, there are going to be opportunists out there. Opportunists. Disgusting, deplorable opportunists. Okay? Be safe out there. That's it. This is not the time to be nice. This is not the time for niceties. Sorry. Not sorry. Okay? But we got more. Go back to this other one. See what they're doing now. Hold up.
To the public, and she said it smells like smoke. Of course, it's covered in soot. She has to get it maintenance, but again, it's that small bright spot in what, in her words, she says has been just a tragic day. And there's this little bit of hope that if your car is parked on that side, that what you wanted to evacuate with might still be in there. And that's enough for the drivers that I talked to to keep them going into the next few days, they say, until they can get back up here and safely check out their car and retrieve their items.
All right, Madison, thank you so much. And wow, crazy there. Depends on where you park on the street that day. Depends on whether or not your car burned down. All right, more now on that breaking news I told you about just a moment ago. A new brush fire burning in Pacoima.
Whoa.
Let's go to Mike Rogers on the desk. Hopefully
What the
you have
hell's
an update for us,
going
Mike.
on?
Yeah, so the
Another
chopper is
one.
getting into position there. They're still a ways out. They were coming from the
Hamburger.
Palisades fire, obviously. But LAFD, what we know right now, is calling this a 1-acre fire. They are saying that there are some homes exposed. And what exposed means is that the fire is burning near them. So at this moment, we have not heard of any homes actually being burned, but there are homes in the area. LAFD saying this is happening in the 12,500 block of West Foothill Boulevard. If you know where that is in that area, it is right off of kind of the 210 and the 118 freeways where they meet right there. So it looks like it's a vegetation fire that's right on the side of the road. As you can see, chopper is still getting in position there. So we don't have their picture from them just yet, but we'll continue to keep an eye on this as they get a little bit closer. But again, this is off the 210 and the 118 freeways in the Pacoima area. It is being called a vegetation fire, and at this point, we only know it to be about 1 acre, and we'll probably be able to see it come into the shot here in just a second. It was putting up some good smoke and flames, but LAFD is already there. They're already well aware of this, and they are working on getting it out. And I'm just looking in the area right now to see if there are any water dropping helicopters that are going to get involved in this, and it doesn't look like it because in the grand scheme of things, an acre is not that big, and if it's contained to the side of the freeway, they'll hopefully be able to get it out.
I mean, if it's contained on the side of the highway, it's one thing, but at the same time, an acre can still spread to 10 really, really fast if it's not contained. Okay. Now, one thing I want to say though, too, come on now. You don't think that some of these mother lovers out here that are just crazy, that just want to cause anarchy? I'm just saying, some of these fires have got to have been started by somebody else. I mean, that's just, now that we already have the conversation of a possible arsonist on with one of these other fires, the more I see this, the more I'm like, yo, you can't tell me that's a little bit of an ember flying around and just landing randomly in some area, starting a mother-loving fire. And some of these places are so beyond, right? So off the path that it's like, it just doesn't make any earthly sense. You see what I'm saying? So again, I look at this and I'm like, yo, now I'm really side-eyeing some of these. Not all of them, but some of these, okay? Because somebody did something. Somebody's, some persons, some people's, I don't know, but something just doesn't seem right. And now I feel like this is going to be an ongoing thing until all of the fires are out. Because once the fires are all out, they can't use that as camouflage. Think about that for a second. They can't use that as camouflage for anything. You feel me? But if these fires are still raging like they are right now, geez, look at that, right? If they continue raging on like this, people are going to use that as an opportunity. Dirty, disgusting, evil mother lovers are going to use this as an opportunity to start blowing things up, burning things, etc., just so that they can get theirs, whatever that theirs is. Okay? This is insane, yo.
Knowns at this point, and we're really trying to sort it all out. But what happened was in Woodland Hills, so keep in mind the fire started almost in the West Hills area, Woodland Hills, south of the Ventura Boulevard, south of the 101, there was a person that a group of citizens, for one reason or another, believed was an arson suspect. That group of citizens detained that arson suspect. LAPD Topanga Division came out and picked him up, brought him to Topanga Station, and now detectives from Ventura County Sheriff are coming to Topanga Station to interview this person. Right now, LAPD is not able to say if this person is in fact an arson suspect, if it is in fact an arson suspect from the Kenneth fire. That is everything that is still under investigation. But again, he was found in Woodland Hills by a group of citizens and was taken into custody by LAPD while they investigate. He is not under arrest. He has not been charged. They're just detaining him as they investigate. So as we look at the chopper now live in Pacoima, the good news is this is already out. There's no flames left here. So that's really encouraging here. And it just really goes to show you the difference in the wind conditions and how much of a difference that makes when we don't have those winds to contend with, and right up against the homes here, but already under control. And just if you see right there on the side of the freeway, looks like just some smoldering hotspots left at this point.
Well, that is terribly good news to
Yeah.
report. And you know what? Even if, in terms of that suspect that they have, they are questioning someone. And at this point, you really have to follow all of your leads.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're not going to say, nah, never mind. They're going to, even if he's not their guy, they'll detain him for questioning. And sounds like something there enough for them to at least detain him, right? But we want to be clear. He has not been arrested. He has not been charged. He is simply being questioned. We're working to get to the bottom of why these citizens believed that he was an arson suspect. It was not any kind of detectives that did this work. It was citizens that got this information, and they held him until police got there. So we're looking at the 118 and the 210 here really quick, and there is some flames left just right there in the corner, but you've got plenty of engines there on scene. They should be able to get this under control pretty quickly.
Yeah, at some point, Mike, we keep seeing a lot of these little spot fires as well. You wonder what started this. This is under, under the freeway there. So you wonder what started this here. So, of course, there'll be an investigation even on this, but as well as over at the Kenneth fire.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right, Mike, hang tight. Okay, we're going to go to this. 20 people have been arrested for looting as of tonight. That's
Damn.
County Sheriff's Department.
Yeah, and a few will go into place for evacuation zones. Nicole Comstock is in Altadena with more on the effort to keep people's property, Nicole, safe.
It's infuriating, Pat and Leslie, that people would actually not have enough compassion to where they would come out here during one of the most vulnerable, terrible times in people's lives, when they lost so much of their town, when people have lost homes, and when people have actually died during these catastrophic fires, to loot in communities, to ravage through whatever homes have been salvaged and try to find things of value to take with them. But unfortunately, that's exactly what's happening in at least 20 cases, like we mentioned. Especially heartbreaking when you take a look at how much damage was caused to the middle of this town here in Altadena. This is basically the center of town here, the heart of Altadena, and it's broken tonight. Right here, you're looking at what used to be Altadena Hardware Store, which is, a pillar in this community that's been here for 80 years. It's been owned by multiple local families here. And then next door to it, to the left, there was Willema Hat Company, which has been here for 10 years. And, the guy has been custom making hats here with tools. He says online he is a source that were 100 years old, and he would, make these by hand. So there are a lot of craftspeople and artisans in this community, and that's what a lot of these stores were that have burned down. They just had a press conference a short time ago.
What are the questions?
The LA County Sheriff Robert Luna saying that looting in these communities is completely unacceptable, that they have had at least 20 instances of looting countywide. So we're not certain how many of those have been in Altadena, but some deputies we've spoken to have said they believe that most, if not all of those, have actually been here in Altadena, which is kind of crazy that people would come from all over the place to do that. They do have a lot of sheriff's deputies blocking streets here, and if anyone tries to get past the barricades, they're yelling at them and they're actually chasing them down. So they're doing whatever they can to keep these people out. But, when they want to come after these valuables, they'll find ways to sneak in here tonight. And the Sheriff's Department wants people to know that they're not going to allow this to happen. And that's why they're mobilizing not only a curfew, they're working on getting that into place, but they're mobilizing the National Guard in these areas to have a bigger show of force and just more people on the ground to keep people out. Now, of course, people who have lost homes, people who have had friends die, who have neighbors who lost homes, are extremely upset to hear about the looting. Even if your home is still standing, now you have that next fear, which is that someone's going to go into it and take what you have. Take a listen to these people we spoke with.
It's just, they have zero empathy of the situation at hand, and for them to take advantage of that it's evil.
That is unacceptable behavior. Having additional resources, having the National Guard with us, which will augment those resources, will help send a stronger message, keep people out of the impacted areas so we don't continuously victimize the people who have already been victimized.
And, we asked some sheriff's deputies we spoke with tonight how they're catching these people in most cases, because these neighborhoods are super dark. And I can imagine it would be incredibly difficult to go around to all of these fire ravaged neighborhoods and actually find people who are looting. Lots of places you can hide out here. They said they're actually getting a lot of tips from people who live in this community. Of course, some people stayed behind. Some people did not lose their homes. And it's a small town here. It has a really tight-knit feel. And so everyone kind of knows who belongs in these neighborhoods and who doesn't. So as soon as citizens here see someone who's out of place, who maybe they see them with a trash bag, they're calling the sheriff's department and giving them tips. They're giving them license plates. They're giving them descriptions. They're letting them know exactly who they are. And then other than that, they also say that they have undercover officers out in these communities. So even if you don't necessarily see a marked sheriff's patrol car down one particular street, that doesn't mean they're not out here. They're in cars with blacked out windows and they're looking for people. So they're doing whatever they can to prevent this from happening. Another really sad story, I just spoke with a young man just a short time ago who said, this is especially upsetting because people died in some of these homes. He said he had a friend who was 14, maybe 15 years old, who died in this fire trying to escape his home, saying that he tried to get out and he just couldn't in time. And he says he actually got a call from that young man's mother telling him what happened. Apparently their neighbors out here, so if that's the case, if there was this 14 or 15-year-old who died, such a young person to lose their lives. And then for people to come up here and loot homes is so incredibly disrespectful. And so the sheriff's department is doing what they can to prevent that. We have not yet seen any National Guard troops in the area, but we know that they are on the way. We heard maybe some are coming from Ontario. So hopefully within the next couple of hours out here, we'll see them on the ground, and we'll certainly keep you posted. Reporting live in Altadena, Nicole Comstock,
That's sad.
KCAL News.
It's already bad enough where people are probably sleeping with one eye open, thinking about spot fires or things like that breaking out. They can't sleep from the wind, and now they have to think about possibility of somebody coming to loot their neighborhood. That old adage, what's the saying? If you see something, say something. That's just, another something that we have to look out for. Neighbors looking after neighbors, and that's probably what it's going to take. Nicole, when you talk about people giving tips to law enforcement, that's probably going to be the main way they're going to catch some of these people. And we hope they do get caught. They shouldn't be doing that.
Real quick, I want to share this too, because there's more. Like I said, even while we're watching live feed, I'm still getting and grabbing as much info as I can. Allegedly, remember the guy who allegedly started the fires in Kenneth, or the Kenneth fire. Okay. They are saying that this video is him actually getting arrested. Take a look at this.
Commander 21, Adam is transferring. Incident command, Commander 21, boy. That's going to be up in 495 year old, but
We helped catch a guy trying to start a fire on my block. Interesting, right? So this is allegedly this guy here. Bang. Getting locked up. But here's the thing, though. They're saying that they don't know if this is the guy for sure. They don't know if this is the guy who started the whole thing, if he actually started the fire. So that's interesting. Man, Lorene, 2025 is starting out even more than just energy. Okay, it is on an 8-ball, 17 Red Bulls. Okay, and meth. It is insane. Insane. Remember I said we gonna make 2024 really jealous. Let's make 2024 jealous, right? And damn, 2025 is saying you will know my name. Literally, 2025 has said, you will know my name. That's what's going on right now. And he's like, hey, he kicked the doors open and said, what's up? I'm 2025. What's up? Y'all ready? I don't think you're ready. Wow. It's been bad. It's been really bad. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. 2025. And we thought 2024 was tough. Woo!
Full stop.
Yeah, people really have to band together during a natural disaster like this. And, you hope to see as many people from law enforcement and first responders out in communities as you can. But with such big, fire burn areas, they can't be everywhere at once. And so you really do rely on your community. So if you live in a good neighborhood where you actually know the people who live next door to you and down the block, which I feel like is rare nowadays with a lot of people living in cities and apartment buildings, and you barely ever even see your neighbors out the door. These are people you can really rely on in a time like this. And that's what Altadena is like. So people aren't going to let this happen if they see it. They're going to notify authorities immediately.
Yeah, Nicole, I had a quick question. Earlier, I was watching our coverage, and criminals they'll find a way to get in. But I just wanted to ask, how secure is the neighborhood? Because earlier, our reporter was actually talking to people in this area who simply could just not even get to their homes, even if they had IDs with their address on them.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, basically all of the main streets that you can get up to these neighborhoods on, like Lake Avenue, and then over on the west side of town, they have sheriff's deputies and police and fire engines on basically all of the main intersections. So if anyone's trying to get in, they're going to check people's IDs and see hey, do you actually live here? Do you have a reason to be up here? And if you don't, you're not getting in. And like I mentioned, I actually saw deputies yelling at people and running down the street to get them to turn back around. So they're not having it out here. The thing is, it's a lot of these streets are on a grid pattern. So if you know the area, or even if you're just, you're good at finding your way around looking at a map, they're little back ways. I'm sure that people can sneak in. I'm surprised people are doing it, because the past couple of days we've been driving around in Altadena, there are so many neighborhoods that have power lines down all over the roads. And so it's really unsafe to drive around down here. But I'm assuming if people are getting in, maybe they're parking their cars down outside of this evacuation zone and walking in, because that seems to me like it would be, the only way you'd be able to get around deputies at these roadblocks.
That's why it's going to take neighbors helping neighbors, because if you see somebody that doesn't necessarily live on that street, you may want to ask some questions.
Especially, I was going to also say this too, especially no matter what, I think that even if you live in a really, I want to see what he's going to say here, but even the people who live in a very, very safe neighborhood, you should be even more vigilant. You should be even more on high alert, because if you know that you live in a really nice location, a really nice neighborhood, and it's all about real estate and everything, it's all about location. You don't think that everybody else in the LA area knows that your area is nice too? That your neighborhood is nice? All I'm saying, this is not the time to be dumb. It's not. It's time to be hella vigilant. Keep your head on a swivel. Do not play. Do not mess around, because everybody else knows that you got prime real estate, or that you live in a nice neighborhood. And what is inside those nice neighborhoods? Nice houses. And what's inside those nice houses? Nice things. And that's exactly why they're going over there in the first doggone place. So be careful. Neighborhood watch the hell out of each other. Okay? Somebody said, get your chainsaw. Get out your chainsaw. Whatever. Shoot. Just protect your home. Okay? And the neighborhood should be banding together and being like, hey, we're going to keep an eye on you while you keep an eye on me. All right? And if anything goes down here, we're going to set it off. That's it. That's it. It's on site. Right? But we'll see. Let's hear what he's got to say. Maybe it's an update about this alleged person that tried to set things on fire.
One of the choppers has been, injured, if you will. They have a defect now because of someone flying a drone.
Right.
And now you're going to show it to us, right, Mike?
Yeah, and it's actually not a chopper, it's a super scooper.
Oh.
It's one of the very important tools that we have. And SkyCal is over Van Nuys Airport right now, where Oliver will zoom into the right wing of this super scooper. And it is, it's dark down there, but if you look right there, you can see an anomaly on the wing. And that is where it clipped the drone. So you can see right there where the wing kind of comes out. If you see that little scissor lift that's below it, it's right there to the left of the scissor lift on the wing. So it's hard to tell because it's dark, but we can see it in there. And I'll try to cut some video for you later where there was a light on a couple of seconds ago. And of course, as such goes, as soon as we want to take it to TV, somebody turned the light off. So it's a little bit more difficult to see, but that is a super scooper. There are two of them right there, one on the left, one on the right. They don't fly at night. That's why the one on the left that is still functional is sitting on the ground. But the FAA tells me that earlier today, there was a drone incident where somebody was flying a drone in the Pacific Palisades and collided with a firefighting aircraft, which we now believe is the super scooper. So the super scooper, excuse me, has now been grounded because they'll have to repair that damage to the super scooper before it can fly again, or at least inspect it and see if it can fly with that anomaly. But most likely they'll have to repair it. So as we've been talking about, it's unfortunate because now we are down one more firefighting resource to help fight these fires. And the super scoopers are a bad one to be down because those carry just an enormous amount of water and are very versatile in the fact that they are the only water dropping aircraft that we've got in our region that can fill out of the ocean. Remember, we talk about that a lot, where the other ones have to fill out of fresh water because the salt damages the equipment to the firefighting helicopters and the aircraft that are up there. The super scoopers are unique in the fact that it is okay for them to be able to dip out of the ocean. When we talk the Palisades fire, obviously there's no closer water source to the Palisades fire than the ocean. And so it makes it much easier. So now we don't have that resource, and we're going to continue to fight the fires, obviously, but we don't have that very valuable resource of one of the super scoopers tonight.
And they've only been flying for a couple of days. They couldn't get up there on the first day because it was so darn windy.
And it's been, I went back and played the radar back. So the super scoopers always fly as a pair. That's what caught my attention earlier this afternoon is that one of them was not with the other. So one came up to the Ventura County fire, and I saw it as a single aircraft, which is very unusual because they always fly together. So then we started looking into it some more, and that's when we realized that this was the situation. So that's where we're at right now. The last flight it looked like was around 12:30 for the pair. So I think that incident happened right around then for the pair.
That's
Mike, you were trying to figure out if they found the person that was operating that drone, right?
Sorry, say that one more time, Leslie.
You were trying to figure out if they found the person who was operating the drone.
Yeah, and I can't get that answer. Everyone is being very, very tight-lipped about it for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why they don't want to share a lot of details, but the FAA has deferred. Okay, here's the earlier video when the light was on. You can see that little nick a little bit better from that video. So the FAA only would confirm that the drone incident happened. They would not provide any details about the aircraft, and they referred everything else to CAL FIRE. CAL FIRE, I talked to them. I talked to LA County Fire. Nobody is willing to provide any details about exactly what happened, and I don't have the reason as to why they don't want to do that. The last I heard is that all of the incident commanders and all of the bigwigs were trying to figure out what they wanted to say and how they wanted to say it, and that has resulted in them not saying anything. So we're getting information from the FAA about this. I know the LA County Fire Chief spoke to the LA Times and told them it was the super scooper, but as to who owned the drone, if they were, I mean, obviously they were legally operating it. One thing I want to point out about drones too, because we talked about this when they arrested that guy in Vandenberg. Drones, and we've used drones here at KCAL as well, they are, the technology on them matches federal regulations, right? So if there's a restricted flight zone, your drone, when you buy it, won't allow you to fly into that area. So in order to bypass that, you essentially have to hack your drone to be able to disable the governmental flight restrictions that are installed in the software. So there absolutely is a flight restriction over the Palisades fire because it's one we're abiding by. It's one that's clearly marked on the FAA's website, and one that this drone operator would have known about, and in theory would have had to bypass to fly it in that area. That's what we saw when we looked in. I read a bunch of federal documents for the guy that was flying up in Vandenberg. And in that situation in Vandenberg, he had to download essentially a software that allowed him to bypass the federal regulations prohibiting him from flying the drone near Vandenberg Air Force Base. All of those drones do that. And we have had a situation where we tried to send a photographer with a drone to fly in a certain area, and he said, the software won't let me because I'm too close to an airport, or the software won't let me because I'm too close to this. The drones themselves don't allow you to do that because they are matching what the Federal Aviation Administration has designated as no-fly zones. So
I mean, what kind of... I get it. Okay, I get it. You want to get that beautiful bean footage. All right, I get it. Don't get me wrong. I get it. This is history in the making. We are watching history unfold in front of us in 4K. But at the same time, though, it's stupid. Okay? It's really dumb. It's really, really dumb. So we now know that there's another another fire. Of course, they're starting to take that out. So that hopefully will be done in due time, right? But let's see what's going on.
Quickly they have. We saw them a couple of hours ago, a black and white. There was two fellas with their backpacks riding an electric motorcycle, and they were pulled over by a couple of LAPD black and whites, and they were asking for IDs because they just looked like they didn't belong. You could easily tell that. Mikey, you want to show this? You pointed this out. This is a little area here in the green where you have a lot of folks. They bring books, leave books, and people kind of have their own little library going. And with all the destruction here, look at these books somehow survived. They're not even burned. They're not even singed. So it kind of shows you how strange.
Sorry, I got a little bit of a pause here. He just said they pulled over the guys in a I'm assuming on a bike or something like that, and they were wearing all black, and they looked like they just didn't belong. How does that what does that mean exactly? How do they know that these guys weren't actually living in that area? Am I the only one who caught that? Hold on. I'm going to see if I can get lucky enough to find that piece one more again. But you got to be kidding me. Sorry, we jumped right in and he said that. And I'm like, what? What? Are you sure about that? I mean, don't get me wrong. Maybe those guys are out there doing no good. But at the same time, they looked like they didn't belong there. How could they not? Everybody and their mama's covered up in some sort of way. Just saying. I'm just saying. But let me roll that back.
This is something else we're seeing here also tonight. Lots of utility vehicles moving through here. A lot of power utilities from LADWP to some other private companies bringing in equipment, cables, transformers. So they're slowly starting in some areas to get the grid back, and that's going to be a huge job. Also saw some of the service people from SoCal Edison. From the gas company. They were here a little while ago, about a half hour ago, with their spotlights looking through. It's probably surveying, thinking how they're going to get this job going and what the heck they're going to do. So in any event, not much fire activity here. On the other side of Temescal, maybe about a 2-minute ride from here, is that situation over at the 16,000 block of Sunset, that building, a condo building that may collapse. It's burnt down to the ground. Somebody driving by there, I have no idea who these people are. We've been talking. This is interesting. We haven't seen much of this at all. Media crews are in here. What we haven't seen is, as it got dark, there were a lot of folks wandering around with their backpacks. They had their cell phones up, but their little cameras out, their miniature cameras. We ran into a small crew that was doing a documentary of all sorts, they claim. But as soon as the sun went down, they suddenly disappeared. So it makes you think that maybe there is some type of a curfew through here, or just law enforcement saying, no, you've got to move through. So all we're seeing really, besides media, is the utilities and, of course, the fire department and law enforcement up and down Sunset, and especially all these side streets here. Mikey's showing you Sunset here, but Swarthmore, as you look down this way, this is the village park here, the village green, as they call it. Look how dark it is, eerily. Nothing here. Bagel shop right on the other side of the park here, and there's nothing here. No light, all dark. And I was thinking, it's what, a little after 8, quarter 20 after 8. This would be jumping on a Thursday night. People over here. There's a yogurt shop. There used to be. They'd be over here with their coffee, their yogurts, the restaurants, and there is absolutely nothing here but some more of the heavy equipment coming in. This looks like a tractor trailer, and there's some more of the fire department. Interesting, one other point before I let you go with the fire department moving through here. They are even using their spotlights, hitting the buildings. And I said, what are you doing? They said, well, hotspots, but in this area, it's really not much of a concern anymore. We're also looking for looters as well. Anybody who's suspicious, doesn't belong. If we see something, we call our friends from the county sheriffs or LAPD, and they move in quickly. And quickly they have. We saw them a couple of hours ago, black and white. There was two fellas with their backpacks riding an electric motorcycle, and they were pulled over by a couple of LAPD black and whites, and they were asking for IDs because it just looked like they didn't belong.
What? They just didn't look like they belonged. I mean, everything is basically in squalor now. Everything's in flames, so that's just funny to me. I'm sorry. That's just really funny to me. They didn't look like they belonged here. Paul K said 5 other word black. So obvious. And yeah, he kind of basically, no, he really just said that. He said it, but it was like, soft racism. Soft. But yeah, he really did say that. He really did say that. That's something. They looked like they didn't belong here. Wow. Okay. Now I've heard everything. I'm going to continue on. We're going to skip over this dickhead. Pardon my French, but it's late. I don't care.
Back to that video of the plane, and we can point something out. A lot of people may have noticed on the wing it says Quebec, and that's because these planes are in fact on loan from Canada. There is a contract where we here in California contract them out from Canada for our quote-unquote fire season, although the fire season now is pretty much year-round. And so certain part of the year, they're flying these things in Canada. And that's why you see Quebec written on it, but you also see the logo for our local agencies as well. All right, Ed Laskos, thank you for your continued reporting in Pacific Palisades tonight.
Okay, so, we are headed to the Palisades from Skyfox. That was, I think, of power outages. You see, the large swaths of darkness there amidst the lights. We know so many of you are dealing with power outages. We thank you for your continued viewership. We are here for you. We've been commercial free. Alex and I have been on the air with you since I don't remember, 2 o'clock.
What day?
Yeah, 2 o'clock. I think it was 2 o'clock today.
Yeah.
And commercial free. And of course, if you're not in our viewing area, we thank you because we've heard.
Yeah, they've been at it for a long time. I don't blame them. Okay. I don't blame them. And again, I mean, of course, as we're seeing, I'm going to hop over to another live footage to see if there's anything new going on here. But I mean, the fires are still raging on. They say that tomorrow it's going to start to calm down. The wind, okay? At least the wind is going to calm down. So we'll see what happens if that has any defining factor on tomorrow and how that affects the fires for tomorrow. But again, if you do have a bunch of jerk-offs running around trying to start all these fires as well, then we have a weekend of problems. Okay? We have a whole other, okay. And that's if they don't take out these fires. Remember, Palisades fires are still raging through. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed with those Palisades fires. Zero containment so far. They've been able to quell a bunch of other fires, but not that one. Okay? They've been able to slow some things down, but they haven't taken all of them out. All of them still rage through. So again, remember that too, guys. This is insane, okay? This is absolutely insane. And if the fires are still raging, that gives people an opportunity to just start running around and start fires elsewhere because they either want to cause chaos, anarchy, or they want to have an opportunity to loot, okay? It's bad. But let's hear a little bit of this. Let's take a listen.
Whatever we can do, we should try.
Yeah, give that family strength as that mother is going to have
Yeah.
to process that with her children.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for listening. Now we're going to move on here because we want to talk about the mayor. Months ago, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass cut the fire department's budget by
Here we go.
2% or
Let's listen to this.
$17 million.
Yeah, and many now are wondering. I've heard a lot of people talking about this.
$17 million
If
is
that's
a lot of
led to
money.
a slower response this week and increased damage from that fire. And tonight, Mayor Karen Bass dismissed the criticism.
Well, I am confident that it did not. I will call up a representative from the fire department to address that. But I will also say that within this fiscal year, LAFD actually would go above what was allocated on July 1st.
This is an absolutely unprecedented event. We have, we have another fire that just broke out. Any fire department, even our size, is stressed thin, which is why we call in our mutual aid partners, our additional resources. Of course, we can always use more resources, which is why we ask for more resources, because we always want to be the most prepared we possibly can to get ready for the next fire. Fire department, I've never seen winds that made it to the Pacific Ocean, turned around and went back up the canyon. So this is not something that any fire department can be prepared for. And we always want to have more resources. And we're always going to ask the mayor for more resources for that.
Doesn't matter.
Well, also,
wait. So that doesn't even matter if there are $17 million in the budget or not? Is that what he's basically trying to say? I think that's a question I wish somebody would have been able to ask at the time.
Millions of LA County residents got an evacuation alert by mistake during the Kenneth fire. And the
Yo, hold on. Remember what I just said? They made a mistake and sent out a mass evacuation alert. Real talk. They did today. They're talking about it now.
The director of the Office of Emergency Management explains what happened.
When Unified Command determines a location is going to be issued as an evacuation order or an evacuation warning, the incident commanders designate that. That then gets communicated to the Los Angeles County's Office of Emergency Management and the Emergency Operations Center, who actually do the function of, through a technological system, a software system, issuing that. There was an error within that system that went beyond the zone that was designated. So the correct zone was designated as authorized by the incident commanders on what was supposed to be a zone for the Kenneth fire.
Well, turning now to the Palisades fire. That fire has burned down more than 5,300 homes and businesses.
And we've heard stories of tragedy, but as KCAL's Tom Wade tells us, some people's homes were spared, and one of them happens to belong to his aunt. So, Tom, how are you doing tonight? How is your aunt doing?
And we already saw this already.
I
mean, they're kind of like re-looping the same things over and over and over again, because obviously there's not a whole lot of, I'm sure it's not easy to be boots on the ground every time, like right in the fires. They've already done all that craziness, all of that, for lack of a better term, all of that excitement. Okay. So now since these homes are not on fire anymore, it's like, okay, now we can talk about these sentimental things, which of course are heartbreaking, very heart-wrenching for sure. I'm not knocking that at all. But of course, there's a lot of people that have lost their homes. Okay. A lot. We've seen many people speak. I think even didn't Mel Gibson recently do something? Hold on, I gotta see this. I could have sworn he did. Well, he was, last I remember, because he was in, I don't know how quickly Joe Rogan turns his interviews around, but he did an interview with Mel Gibson and that just aired. So I don't know if that was like right after the interview or not, but Mel Gibson did do an interview. Hold on. I think it was on CNN or something like that. I think. He was talking about this stuff. I don't know. Hold on. CNN? I think it was CNN. Or no, it was News Nation. Let me see. I mean, this is just him on. It sounds like he's just on the phone, but we'll play a little bit of this. News Nation in the house. Let's check this out.
This one belonged to award-winning, Oscar-winning director, actor, producer Mel Gibson. And Mel joins me by phone right now. Mel, I'm
sorry for Mel Gibson. All I remember now is all I can think of anytime I see anything that he's in now. Anytime I hear his name, all I think of is all I can think of is the voicemail that he left his then wife or something like that, where he's sitting there just screaming at her, saying, "I hope you get R'd by a bunch of N-words." Yeah, it's just hard to take him seriously after all of that. But let's hear just a little bit of this. Let's just hear a little bit. You know what? And Braveheart's one of my favorite movies. So it's that one's such a great movie, but at the same time, it's hard to. Yeah, he got issues, man. He got issues, guys. Have mercy, he got issues. Okay, yeah. If you haven't heard that Mel Gibson voicemail, just Google it, baby. Just go into the Googles, go into the YouTubes, love. Right? Mel Gibson voicemail. All right? And you'll have a world of fun. Yeah.
I'm so sorry to be talking to you under these circumstances. I'm looking at video of the ruins of what was once your home. I got to ask you how you're doing.
I'm doing good. It's just a thing. But, it is obviously, it's kind of devastating. It's emotional. You live there for a long time and you had all your stuff. You remember George Carlin talking about your stuff? Yeah. I had my stuff there and it's all like, I've been relieved from the burden of my stuff because it's all in cinders.
Yeah. Where were you, Mel, when the fire broke out?
Gosh, I was in Austin. I was doing the Rogan podcast, and I was kind of ill at ease while we were talking because I knew my neighborhood was on fire. So I thought, I wonder if my place is still there. But when I got home, sure enough, it wasn't there. I went home and I said to myself, well, at least I haven't got any of those pesky plumbing problems anymore.
When did you drive up? Did you take this video that we're looking at?
Yeah, I was taking some of it. Rose took some, and the chickens survived. It was amazing.
That is.
Chicken poop, and they were fine. So we gave them some grain and some water, and they're happy and laying eggs and stuff. So there you go. They weren't roast chickens.
And where was Rose during all of this? Was she with you in Austin, or?
No. We evacuated. See, I left on a plane, and the winds were picking up, and I went to Austin, and of course. While I was gone, whenever I leave town, a fire breaks out. It was the same last month. I mean, it was the same thing. The flames were like 200 yards away from my house. But this time they came from the other direction and really nailed me. And I have never seen a place so perfectly burnt. It is like, it's kind of, you could put it in an urn,
Yeah, there is nothing there. What about the rest of the neighborhood, Mel? Your neighbors, the people you've lived next to for quite some time, how did they fare?
Yeah, some of the neighbors really got it hard. I know, Ed Harris, the actor who lives down the street, I think his place is gone. And many of my friends up and down the street. And it was kind of random. It wasn't every place, but it was quite a few places. There was a dozen places or so that were just non-existent. I mean, nothing but a chimney and a few roof tiles, and you dare not walk around for the nails and the whole deal. The vehicles were gone, everything. It was completely toasted. I've never seen such a complete burn. It's like someone did it on purpose to really destroy every aspect of it.
And when you hear that this fire is 0% contained, they have still not contained this. They're calling it the worst fire in LA history.
Well, those winds were something else. I mean, when have we had winds like that? I mean, that's crazy. And, I guess the water wasn't doing what it should. And, the forests weren't cleared like they should have been. So, I don't know. It's the perfect confluence, the perfect storm of the perfect firestorm. I mean, my place looked like Dresden.
Yeah, it does look like Dresden. What are you going to do now? Are you going to try and rebuild there?
I don't know. I mean, I'll clean it up because it's toxic. And, of course, the land is beautiful. It's a beautiful ocean view. Hey, anybody want to buy some land? 5 acres. Yeah.
Yeah, get it cheap. Ha ha. I don't think so.
Yeah. So it's, we'll go through the usual motions, I guess. There's some kind of insurance, maybe. I can't even tell you anymore. But, it's emotional. And, I lived there for about 14, 15 years. So it was home to me. And I had a lot of personal things there that, I can't get back. And
like what?
But all kinds of stuff, everything from photographs to files to, just personal things that I had from over the years and clothing and, it's pretty cool stuff, but, hey, that can all be replaced. These are only things. And the good news is that, those in my family and those I love are all well, and we're all happy and healthy and out of harm's way.
And that's all that matters, really. Let's be real. But that is the sound of a man that has no worries. Like, that's a man who is financially free, right? He's made a buttload of money. Sure, this is financially it is a financial setback to have to possibly reach into your own pocket and rebuild from the house that just burned down. But at the same time, this is a man who has a lot of money. So of course, something like this it's going to be like, okay, yeah, this sucks, but it'll be fine. He's not worried like other people that we've seen who have sat there and said, oh man, understandably, these people are worried about the home that they had, because a lot of people, let's be real, they pour their heart and soul into their home. They work tooth and nail. They work their fingers to the bone to just keep the lights on in the home that they actually have. Some people don't have that excess cash. Some people don't have enough to even have an emergency fund. Let's be real. What they have is in their account is to pay the mortgage, pay the bills, and that's just to get through the month. And then they hold on until the next payday. You see what I'm saying? They hold on until the next payday, and then they make money, right? Or they get their money back and all that, okay? But, at the same time, guys, it is pretty crazy. When you hear the different perspectives, certain people, like, let's be real, Mel Gibson, massive movies, right? He's done a lot of movies that were pretty big. James Woods has done some big movies, but, maybe he's not working as much as he used to. And to be real, with all due respect, it's not like James Woods was the lead in some massive, iconic movie, right? Where he's wrote, directed, starred in as well. So money's going to be a little bit different, And, somebody who's like, we just spent all this time to make this thing, and this was going to be this is going to be where I was going to retire and chill and just swim and not have to worry about work anymore, not worry about having to run around and hustle anymore, have a comfortable life and just live out the rest of my life happy, and maybe just do a little bit here and there. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, some of these people are maybe going to have to put on their actor's hat again, and go back to work all over again just to make enough money to pay to get their home rebuilt. It's sad, but like I said, there's a lot of people that are not as financially privileged as some others. And that's one thing I want to show. Like, just hearing what Mel Gibson said in there, even though, I have my reservations and opinions about this man. You know, I used to love him as an actor back in the day, but of course things change when you get to know the artist itself. But outside of my personal opinions, you could tell that he's okay, that he's going to be fine. He's like, he probably has 5 other properties elsewhere that he can go stay. That's the difference between people down the hill or, you know, down a little ways. There's other people out here that are like, this is all I had. This condo is all I had. That car that went up in flames, that's all I had. Now I don't know where to start. And that is terrifying. But if you notice, this fire doesn't care. Didn't care about how rich Mel Gibson is, or maybe doesn't care how poor the next person is. Doesn't matter. Just ripped through everything and brought nothing but chaos and mayhem for a lot of people. And even so, the people who have been privileged, that have made a considerable amount of money, let me tell you, and they are now kind of on the same plane as the people who were financially struggling, that are also sitting here going, I don't know where I'm going to sleep tonight. Those same people who have Emmys, Grammys, maybe they're trendsetters, maybe they have a huge following on Instagram and they make a crap ton of money on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. They're all in the same boat together. They're all sitting there going, damn, where are we going to stay tonight? And how are we going to get back to normalcy? And how quickly can we do that? It's a very interesting thing. And like I said, that's why I was saying, I'm hoping that this could be a very humbling experience for LA, for those overly privileged individuals because of their financial status or because of their status in general and all that. But, you know, like I said, anything's possible. You know, I maybe nothing will happen, but at the same time, this is the time more than ever that I'm hoping that they turn towards positive. They turn towards leaning on each other and helping each other out, rather than it being a thing of ego because of financial status and all that. Because in my personal opinion, they're all in the muck together. Everyone's going to be struggling to get a room. Everyone's going to be struggling to get a place to lay their head down for a little while. This could possibly be an absolute-ish show. I'm talking about the aftermath. When the dust settles, when it's just smoking ash, when all this is over, there's 2 choices. This could be an absolute cluster F that shows the true nature, the true disgusting nature of the human condition, or this could really be something transcendent and inspirational. And I'm hoping to God they lean towards something like that. I really do. But we're just going to have to sit back and wait and see. But as you guys see here, guys, a lot of fires going on. Fires are still brewing. Things are still going off. I'm turning in, but tomorrow morning we'll be back to talk about all of this. I'm sure there'll be more developments. Hopefully, it'll be more on the positive side of things. Things will be figured out, and hopefully they can get these fires under control. Hopefully Friday is a very good day for everybody. So that is the show. Again, I'm hopeful, y'all. I'm very, very hopeful. I always try to be hopeful. All right. Always try to be. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. I'll be back on tomorrow morning for sure. Okay? Doesn't matter if I didn't sleep much at all. It don't matter. I'll be back on. If there's new developments, we will be talking about it. I'm praying for swift action tomorrow or by tomorrow morning. Okay? And I'm hoping that all the evildoers that are out there sit back and shut up and stop trying to start fires. Okay? We need to be better than that. We're better people than that. Okay? Anyway, guys, I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. Please do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Crush it. Do what it do. All right, hit that reaction button. If you're watching on other platforms, please make sure you hit that follow button. Crush that subscribe button here on my main channel, here on YouTube. Go to my secondary channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Crush that subscribe button over there. Make sure the notification bells are set to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because a lot of it has to do with breaking news and a lot of it is random. So make sure you hit that subscribe and that notification bell. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. Check out my locals. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there, guys. Go check it out. I guarantee you'll find something you'll love over there. Anyway, guys, it's time to get going. Much love to you guys. Have a great night. I'm praying for everyone over there in Los Angeles. Hopefully, the fires slow down tonight. That's what I'm hoping for. But only time will tell. We'll discuss it in the morning. See you guys soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. We'll talk soon. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.